Say what? What's she saying?
Are you going to stay there?
Yes.
No. It's all going to change on
We're not going to do that tonight.
whatever the election is, right?
No. Okay. Evening, everyone. This is the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. It is December 4th, 2014. It is 6:03 p.m. Please rise for the invocation given by our member Byron Williams, Reverend, and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Most gracious God, we just want to say thank you for this wonderful city that it is, and we just thank you for each and every citizen. So as we come now here as commissioners and business people, just bless us with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we'll conduct ourselves in a way that's pleasing unto you as we carry on the business for the CRA meeting on tonight. So again, we just thank you. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Ms. Parham.
Member Bass?
Here.
Member Evans?
Here.
Member James?
Here.
Member Jamison?
Here.
Member Newcomb is absent. Member Weller?
Here.
Member Williams?
Present.
Thank you. So we get to watch Bubbles now? Okay.
No, I haven't hooked this part up yet.
Oh,
I got
okay.
it.
On the agenda tonight, we have to consider nominations for election of the chair and the vice chair. However, we will need to amend the agenda to remove that from the agenda because our ordinance, in fact, provides that the city commission determines who the chair and who the vice chair will be for the CRA. So I will accept a motion to amend the agenda, deleting those two items.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Member Williams, seconded by Member Evans, to amend the agenda. Any comments?
Just one question. Will this automatically be put on the agenda? I mean, when does this need to be done? Does it need to be done at the next meeting?
It's on the agenda for the 11th.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, indicate by saying no. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. All right, so the next item on the agenda is to review and approve a contract with Amanda Rodriguez to serve as the CRA Executive Director. Madam Attorney, would you please go over the contract for us?
Yes. After the last meeting, I sent.
Do you have
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. After the last meeting, we made a couple changes, or you as a CRA board made a couple changes. I made those changes and I forwarded them to Ms. Rodriguez. After she reviewed it, she made 3 requests, and so the copy in front of you is the contract as we had discussed, and then in track changes. So in blue should be, and I'll go over exactly what page numbers, but those changes are the ones that Ms. Rodriguez discussed. The first one actually wasn't her change, but you'll notice that I changed November to December up on the very first line of the agreement. We're now in a new month. Her first proposed change is on page 5 of 9. I guess it technically starts on page 4, and this is regarding general business expenses. And it had previously read, the CRA shall offer the executive director a personal smartphone or similar device and subscription plan for the same for CRA business. Ms. Rodriguez just wanted it to be clear that this phone would just be for CRA business, and she would continue to use her own personal cell phone for personal business.
Okay.
So legal does not have an objection to that change. The next change is on page 6 of 9. This is section 15, expectation of work hours. It previously said, executive director acknowledges and understands that she is expected to work part-time. And then the addition she wanted, which is in parentheses, there follows, says average of 20 hours per week. This is the language that was in the job description and job post that you sent out. So legal does not have an objection to that proposed change as well. And her next proposed change is in section 17 on work product. Ms. Rodriguez is in school, as you all know, receiving her master's degree. So she wanted some language down there that if she was working on school projects, that would not be the intellectual property of the CRA. So what I've proposed adding down there at the bottom of paragraph 1 of section 17 is this provision does not apply to work performed by the executive director in pursuit of her advanced degree unless the work is also used for CRA business. Legal does not have an objection to that change. And those were all of her proposed changes, unless she has something else this evening, but those are the ones I know, and that's it for you.
Okay, any questions by the members of the board? Ms. Rodriguez, do you have anything that you would like to address to the board at this point as far as your contract goes? I think we picked it up. Well, the record will reflect that you said you had that you said no. Thank you. Well, we can go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the contract as proposed, but we would need after that to probably determine exactly what her start date is.
I make a motion to approve the contract as proposed.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor made by Member Evans and seconded by Member James. Any other discussion? Any comments from the audience? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving the contract as proposed indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed indicate by saying no. Motion passes 6-0. Great. Now, Ms. Rodriguez, please come on up here. One of the first things I think this I'm going to say is part of this item would be her start date. This is Thursday. When would you be able to start if there's any time frame that you would not be able to start at this point?
Monday, it would be good for me.
Okay. Is everyone okay with her starting on Monday? No objections to that? That will work well with us? Okay. And we've got an office set up for her and things that she needs. Okay. So we'll have you start to work on Monday.
Okay.
I do have some questions between what's going to occur between now and our next meeting as to what we think we would want her to accomplish, perhaps, between now and then. Our next meeting at this point will probably not be until January, unless something comes up. First of all, I think we need to get some cards for her, which we can work on. And I think commissioners, or excuse me, board members, you may want to indicate if you have any ideas of what you think that you would like her to accomplish between now and our next meeting. Ideas? You don't? I do.
Let's hear yours. I mean,
I have one idea.
Yes, Ms. Bass.
As far as the business liaison, just maybe take some time to meet a few of the business owners and just introduce yourself and let them know that the CRA board is active and we are really doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Okay. That was my number one item other than the business
Oh,
card.
that's all right.
No, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. I actually was going to suggest that during between now and the next meeting, that you start working on visiting all the businesses in the CRA area, that you certainly, as well, make yourself known to the chamber, to the farmers market, to the CDC, and to the museum as well, because those are all areas, city functions that are within the CRA area. I would also like to see her start establishing a database of business addresses and residential addresses within the CRA area.
We don't have that?
No, I don't think so.
We have a list of all business license within the city.
Right.
I don't think that we can separate them and divide them in areas, but we can actually look at the addresses and we can put something together, but it's not a report that we can print out.
Right. And I think that's what one of the things that we should have is a database of a separate one for businesses and a separate one for residentials, because then we can send out information on the facade grants or whatever else we want to send out to the business addresses and to the residential addresses within the CRA area.
The reason I asked that is because I received a letter about the facade grant for the residences, and I was just thinking maybe that's in place already.
We did that. We looked up the residential and mailed it all out to residential. So we still have the list of homeowners in the area, but I don't think all of the businesses.
Right. I think also that we should have her review the goals that we had set for the next 2 years, and start gathering information on what would be needed in order to meet those goals. And that she also ought to meet and introduce herself to the North Florida Regional Council, which was pulling information together for us for our 10-year plan.
Okay.
And introduce yourself as well to the county staff that we will have to be communicating with for the 10-year plan as well. And I think that's all I had down. That might be more than enough to keep you busy, but at least it gets you started. Now, let me ask you this. Did you have any specific goals that you've established in your own mind as to what you want to start accomplishing?
They're actually almost exactly like that. And to that, I want to add just really familiarize myself with the current plan that you guys have. And the actual district area is a little bit blurry on the paper that I had found. So just the actual what is the defined area, I want to do that, and also just really look at the legal side of it and what are the statutes that pertain to the agency as well. So besides that, I had the same thoughts of meeting all the businesses between now and the end of January, and I'd also like to look over the different grants that are offered and make sure I'm familiar with them before I go out and meet with the people.
Okay. Anything else anyone has to offer or suggest? Anyone from the audience have anything to suggest? No? All right. Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
We look forward to your working with us and promoting the CRA, and I think the city is going to be benefiting greatly from having you on as our executive director. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very excited to start.
Good. Thank you so much.
I guess I got a question for for the attorney. Since we didn't choose a chair on tonight, so how are we going to sign this document? Because it's stating as me as being the mayor, and then you as being the...
Madam Attorney?
I think we should do what is current as of tonight. If we're going to execute this tonight, then we would change mayor to Mayor Weller, and then she would also sign as the chair.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, I mean, that's what we have currently. So unless you, for some reason, you don't sign this, even if you signed it on Monday, that would still be
Same.
the
Right.
case. Yeah. And if
Okay.
she's starting on Monday, then I would recommend signing this by Monday.
Right. Okay. All right.
You wouldn't have a new chair until Thursday.
All right. Thank you. All right. Takes care of item 1. So item 2 is to consider a CRA facade improvement grant for Susie Blankenship of Hair and Nail Depot at 310 North Main Street. Ms. Blankenship.
Hi,
Good
Susie
evening.
Blankenship, 310 North Main. And I'm actually doing a little amendment to I'm amending what we came forward last time, probably about 2 or 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad that it's Amanda, right? Hey, Amanda. I'm so glad she's here because, you know, as a business owner, I had so many questions and so much that I do hair. That's what I do, and this other stuff I do not do, and I did not really fully understand the magnitude of what was there and what the facade involved or entailed. And I apologize, I've had a migraine all day, so y'all bear with this. I'm sorry. But anyway, so, you know, as we've just kind of gone through, it's kind of like an old car. I mean, it's a 1964 building. When we started doing this and that, we found, you know, some rotten areas, and we replaced, and the fence was falling down, and the doors need replacing. So we've been doing, you know, some things to the shop. We were granted, I think the one set of awnings was $6,500, and I was granted half of that. And now we've got so much more going on, which we're excited about. I'm thrilled. We're painting and caulking and, you know, awnings and doors and yay, it's about time. So anyway, the one thing I apologize for, I was actually on the road when Jenny called me the other day and said that the meeting was tonight. And so I was like in the truck. I wasn't driving doing this. I was riding. And I was trying to like think of, you know, get everything together like off the top of my head. Did not have my phone that had the calculator. I did not even come up with like a grand total. But the main thing is, you know, I have been awarded a certain amount, and I'm thankful for that. Thank you very much. But, you know, you can see there's other things. You know, there's other awnings that we're going to put on the back and the front. What I wasn't really sure, and I'll ask you guys this, and I know eventually I can, you know, ask Amanda down the road. But from what I personally thought the facade meant was like the front, just strictly the front. And then as other people have, you know, kind of said, you know, we had trees removed that were rotten and to put that on there and just different things. So am I correct on that? Is that what facade means? Is that what we say as a CRA member, what facade means?
Well, facade, as far as I know, and our attorney can certainly probably much better person to answer that to me, is basically structural.
Okay.
You know, which means could be windows, could be doors, could be painting, could be rotten wood.
Okay.
You know, tree I don't know about.
Tree I wasn't sure. I mean, I was told to put it and I put it, but I wasn't sure about that. That was
fencing. You know, that's adding to your business, I guess. You know, I don't know for sure on that. But there, I guess, you know, there that if can you clarify
I would
that?
consider the facade the outside of your building, and I wouldn't even consider it just front, but
Right.
outside.
Okay.
I would not consider that if that's something that the CRA wants to consider and add something like landscaping. I mean, I think that would be a decision that the CRA board could decide if you thought that landscaping was a part of a business's facade, the outside. So if legal would not have an objection to you as a board deciding that, yes, we would consider landscaping that is part of the overall facade and feel of a building.
I mean, I personally wouldn't have a problem with that, but I would want to make sure that we check with our CRA agency to make sure that, you know, that is something that we would have the legal ability to do, or that they don't have a problem with that.
Okay, yeah, I can check with them.
Yes, Madam Bates.
I'd like to say the only thing, when we did a facade matching grant through the chamber, at that point we did the patio out front and just general landscaping is what it was, but it was a facade grant through the chamber, matching grant, and that's what it was. Right. I
mean, it's a beautification process, I believe, so that's why I think it falls into
town.
that.
It improves anything that improves the town.
Right.
And I will say this too, as far as a tree, you know, that kind of, for me personally, you know, it falls under facade, because if a tree is rotten and it falls on the building, I mean, that's preventive maintenance, you know, because then you're going to have more damage, and then possibly somebody come back to apply for a grant to fix it, you know, which is facade. So that's just my opinion.
Well, it did hurt me to cut it down. I hate to cut a tree, but it was it was dead.
Sometimes you have to.
But
The-
then, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I'm looking at your grant, the second grant that you've put in, I've got several questions on it.
Oh, that's fine, and I do have like
and,
estimates and all that fun stuff if you need it.
When I was looking through it, you need to, there were 3 items that an estimate sheet was provided, but there appear to be 4 items that there are not estimate sheets provided.
I apologize, because I didn't realize this was going to be called. When I was here 2 weeks ago, I had it all together, and I wasn't on the agenda, which that's under the version, no big deal.
Right.
But I was just out of town when this all happened, and I apologize. I haven't been.
Okay.
I've been under the weather since I got back
sure.
Monday night, so I've just been trying to function. But no worries, you can ask. I'm all good.
Okay.
Good.
The other item that, previously you were approved in August 11th for the front porch awning.
Right. Mm-hmm.
For half of the $6,500.
Right.
And it appears that you're now using that money for the back porch.
Well, kind of, sort of. You know how women kind of like change our minds. I'm sorry, it is what it is. The whole point of doing like what we were going to do, where we came and Scott Rosenboom did all the, they had the engineering, they drew it up and all that stuff. After we got to looking at it, it was like, that's really not going to be like such a good idea after I talked to people that know about structure and what we were having to actually do. So we just kind of decided if we flip that to the back, because originally we were going to do something in the back, because it's just, it's just a square. It was a Magic Market. It's just a big square building, and it's just kind of boring. So we kind of went and talked. We had consultations with other people that's what they do for a living, is awnings and stuff. And they recommended just kind of giving like a little bit more of a curb appeal and softening the squareness up. And so that's kind of why we did a little flip-flop on that. So, and we have ordered those. We've gone ahead and ordered. They're colored as opposed to just being tan. Like, I love your facade out front, but, you have the whole structure of that old house look. And I wanted that, but flat roof, not so good. Right. So, anyway, we ordered that, and I have paid half of that. It's $2,000 something. And they're supposed to, if we get it painted this weekend, what we're working on, they can come put it up, finish that up this week.
Well, is there, I guess my issue on that is, though, we've awarded you $32.50 for the front.
Right.
And we have nothing to tell us and now that you've switched out to the back, we have nothing to tell us what the cost is going to be for the back awning.
Oh.
So.
Well, now the back, I mean, if that works out. See, there again, I didn't realize the back was even part of the facade, so that's just me not knowing. I didn't really have a guide to go by, and that's probably my fault. I didn't know to ask for one. But that's, that will be in the back.
Right.
And we've got, that all, we've got the permit and everything for that. The front awnings, I don't know if you've got I had that like a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if that was in your paperwork, but that was under the tent doctor. That
correct,
$2.
and that was
yes.
right.
And that's what we decided to go with in the front. So, and I do appreciate that I was awarded, half of the $6,500. So, the whole thing was if any of this other stuff could be added to the facade, grant, then of course that money has been established, and that's cool. But if since the back's separate from the front, if that's and it is 2 totally different estimates.
It's not a matter, I don't think, of whether that you're going to do back and front or back or front.
Right.
It's the matter of where we are reflecting where the money's going, and the fact that we don't have an estimate for the back, and we don't have an estimate for some of these other things.
Well, now we have I do have all those estimates. I just, like I said, was on the road. I didn't. I mean, I had it all like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
I just didn't have it together because we just got back, and I didn't know this meeting was tonight. But I have all that. I can make copies. If you need me to. It's not. And I apologize because God bless you for calling me when you did, but we were traveling.
Okay. I mean, I have other questions, but I'm going to open it up for the board at this point if they have any questions.
I mean, if you've got copies of
that's
the estimates and whatnot, I mean, that's something I think that we would need to review and look at.
Right.
Because, I mean,
do y'all have any from like 2 weeks ago when I?
We do,
okay,
but we don't have. But like I said, we're missing 4 estimates.
Can you tell me which ones it is?
I can. But let me, before you do that, I think I think that well, and it's my opinion at this point, is that this is not ripe to be brought before us at this point.
Oh, okay.
That I think that it needs to be looked at, and it needs to be more, I want to say organized, I guess.
And I
you know,
agree, yeah.
There are other things, I think, like say an issue was raised about I think it was the W-9. That was in your previous.
I'm sorry.
Is it the W-9? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Was in the previous grant. It was not in this one, but we need a complete package of everything you're going to do. Because I guess what I understand is you haven't been awarded. Well, you were awarded the money, but you haven't given any money yet.
No, I've got nothing. I was told that I don't get that until I do the work. So we've just been doing work, just whether I get it or not. I've been just doing the work. So,
but I think we want to give you whatever we can to accomplish what you want. But we got to make sure that all our records are correct and everything is the backup material that we need and everything in order to make that decision.
Ago, not to interrupt, but a month ago when I came and sat down, I had it all notarized, everything notarized again. So you don't have any of that paperwork
for this current grant?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yes, ma'am. I don't think you were here. It was one of the other girls said you weren't here, baby. I'm sorry, but I can work on all this if I need to do better. That's why I'm so glad. And I'm not throwing anybody under the bus.
I understand
but
that.
I know it's a lot of work. I have bugged her to. She's probably sick of me because I have so many questions because this is just totally like 100% out of my element. But I'm really glad. And if you want me to talk, sit down with Amanda and do this, I'm cool with that. Okay. And she can guide me and tell me what I need to do because this is just like way overwhelming. It's like I don't do it. It's extremely overwhelming. But you don't have the new where I came and notarized. They notarized.
I'll check with Linda and see if she filed it separately.
Because I know you weren't here, but I think you were sick or something.
Member Jameson?
I'm sorry.
I wasn't at the last meeting. I was out of town, so I apologize for that. But so here's maybe my question. What I'm hearing is that you did the grant, and the first grant was to do the awnings in the front.
Correct.
How can you use the money to do something different than what the grant was awarded for? I got a problem to where for anybody in general, maybe you can just rework the grant type of deal.
Right. Yes, sir.
But if we award money for this work to be done, and that's the plans that we were done, the person gets the money and does the back, we approve it. I don't know how you could approve a grant for something that we have nothing on. Like right now, the money's being spent to do the back. That's not what it was awarded for. It was awarded for the front. Mm-hmm. Now, it may be a technical issue, but I would think that we would want to make sure that our paperwork said that we gave this money for this specific project and the plans and everything matched with the money. Mm-hmm. I would think that we got a little issue here that what we had granted the money for isn't being done. It's doing the back. Now, maybe the front's going to be done.
Well, we're not doing the back right now. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe I misunderstood you. But I thought she said the back was being done.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. We added it to amend it, but just because that was just what I was commenting.
Let's ask our attorney.
Yeah, I don't know.
Madam Johnson.
Have you, and I'm sorry I don't know the answer to this, did you sign were you ever presented with the agreement to sign?
I've been to every CRA meeting and I've not had anything presented.
One, we need to make sure that we get a copy of our facade agreement, the business edition for her.
Sure,
and in there is a provision if plans change.
Okay.
And so the idea is that if there's going to be substantial change, minor changes are fine. There's going to be substantial changes, which if I'm following correctly, this sounds like a substantial change, then that would be something that the applicant would report to your executive director for your executive director to then review and accept, and if it needs to come back before the board. So one, we need to get that contract signed, and if there's been changes, then that's something that she can discuss with your executive director.
I mean, I would like to see that Ms. Blankenship meet with our new executive director, that our executive director go through, make sure before any grant is presented to us that everything is appropriately within that package that we're looking for, the estimates, the plans, whatever it all is, so that we have a complete package and we know what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's perfect, because
Yeah.
that's been my dream this whole time, and like I said, I've just been dealing with it. But I would say, just in response, the front awnings were actually less, so I was really thrilled about that. Whether we do the back eventually, that was not,
Okay,
because
but
I
I
know we have to do
misunderstood
the
you.
work before we get paid anyway. But I was like so thrilled, it was like $2,000 less. I'm like, yeah, and it's prettier. So,
Well,
women.
let me just make a comment on this, and I'm assuming now, because Amanda's here, that the standard process will be that every grant will go through her with either her, like, I recommend you approve it or
Right.
you don't, right? I mean, that's what the process will be.
Absolutely.
We're just getting caught up to speed, so
Yes.
you'll be the guinea pig.
Yeah, but
Yes.
that's fine. That's fine. I've learned a lot at every CRA meeting. I've learned a lot.
But I think that's important, so she,
Oh,
but then if there's a
absolutely.
question, she knows, and if
Yes.
somebody else were to ask, the
Right.
point
Yes.
person knows. So I think
Yes.
that's important, and we can
Yes.
do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree, Ms. Weller.
And from even future, for future reference, whether it's me or
Right.
Joe below, just to be able to say, oh, you need to call Amanda,
Mhm.
and, everybody else can.
Correct.
But that's fine. I'm basically here because I just didn't really know and wasn't
Sure,
what I
and
needed
most
to
business
do.
people aren't going to know. That's why we now have an executive
And I'm
director
so
to
thrilled.
make sure you get through with
I'm
that.
thrilled. So I'll get this.
Okay.
How soon can I meet with you?
She starts Monday.
Well, yeah,
She starts Monday.
yes,
Monday?
yes,
She
she
starts
starts Monday.
Okay.
Another question that has been raised through an email, and this is something that I think Ms. Johnson's going to have to address. I'll look at, I don't see the email here, but I believe, here it is. I think what raises the question about the board, I guess, paying for things at grant-wise that have already been paid for. And I'm not sure how the board handles it. I mean, what we're allowed to do, I guess, in that aspect.
Our application provides that you can't apply for grants for things that you've already paid for. You are applying for grants for things that you are going to do, and then you do them, you pay for it.
After the grant's
CRA
been.
CRA pays you back. I'm a little confused in this case, especially because we had some changes and so I think as a first step, let's have them meet, figure out exactly what's been done, what the paperwork was, because it sounds like maybe some of this that's already been paid for was part of the original,
Yes.
which would be okay.
Right.
Which, if it fell under that original grant and the things that we were talking about, then because it's been paid for and now she's applying for different things, that's okay.
Right.
It's just, the idea is not that someone would renovate their building and then come to the CRA and ask to be reimbursed. So I think that's something they can discuss and bring back, and then we can see if there was an issue or not.
Okay, yeah.
I have tried.
Yeah, no, and I hate to bring that up, but I want to,
that's fine.
we have an obligation to make sure that we follow the rules so that we don't get in trouble either.
And that's the one thing I didn't mean to interrupt, but where, like, when you're applying for all this, it's like, I know that I had the little instructions of, what you sign off for, what you initial, but at the same time, that was kind of like it. It's like, that's why I'm so thrilled for her, because it's like, then it was kind of like, okay, you need to do this in like 4 weeks and get things going, and then it's like you hear so much,
Right.
and I can tell you all day long about hair, but this kind of stuff, so I'm just kind of like going and doing and trying to do it in like a window, like a 4-week window, and get this done, and and I didn't even think to ask. I guess I didn't ask the right people. Of course, there again, I feel like when I'm calling City Hall every week, I'm driving people nuts, and I guess I'm not. I've talked to everybody I think that I can talk to.
Right.
But it's, that's just where I think. I know I'm kind of in the middle of all
Yeah.
this, but if y'all bear with me, I'm trying
Oh,
really
certainly,
hard.
certainly. No, we
to
want to
make
do
it
everything we
good,
can to
but
help you.
Yes, and maybe just as a suggestion, maybe like to have like a packet when somebody does come.
Sure.
That is
With a
it's in lay
checklist and all that and
terms,
everything
lay
else, yes,
terms.
absolutely.
Because if you're somebody that just does not do this for a living, this is not my thing. It's just a little bit
Right.
confusing, and you hear so much and you just don't know what
Right.
to do and
Exactly.
how to do it. So I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, and we will at this point then, we have this on the agenda. we need to, I guess, table this agenda or table this item until we have more information, until it's brought back after your review with our executive director.
Earlier, I was going to say, not to joke or anything, but that may be one of the items you want to put on the first things to do is for a minute to develop the checklist. I didn't mean to be, I'm not joking.
That's true. Yeah.
But that may be.
Well, or better yet, in going through this process with her, see what would be beneficial, whether it's a packet or what other things might be beneficial to have in the future.
Right. Member Bass?
I will say this, I've talked to a couple of businesses the other day in town, and they are gearing up, getting ready to do a grant proposal. So maybe, get on that first.
The timing may be just right. I mean, with her, and it may work out just right.
And to know there's a time limit and don't spend ahead, but yet you got to spend to get the money, and it does get a little confusing. So I don't, I'm blonde.
So what is the motion do you need a motion?
I think we just need a motion to table this item.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right, you have a motion on the floor made by Member Jameson and seconded by Member Evans to table item 2, the facade grant for Susie Blankenship of the Hair and Nail Depot. Any other questions? Any comments from the audience? All right, seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying an aye. Aye. All opposed indicate by saying no. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. All right, I think that's the last item on the agenda. We probably should look to see when we want to set another meeting up. Our next meeting. Do we want to wait until January? I guess we'll probably want to wait till January. I don't have my calendar. Maybe the first thing would be for our new executive director is to send an email out to all the board members and find out when they would be available for a meeting in January. Does that make sense?
You got a couple workshops,
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we have a couple of workshops that are already scheduled for the commission. So we'll have to find a date that will work for us. I would rather not go too far into January because I think we're going to start having things come in and we want to start getting things going. So is that all right with everyone? Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Meeting adjourned at 6:41. Thank you.
Right, man.